Hi guys, just before we get started, let me introduce myself. I am Urvashi and I studied Bachelor's of Electrical and Electronics Engineering at Manipal International University, Malaysia. Today I will introduce you to the world of IoT. Internet of Things and Insight. So, what is the Internet of Things or IoT? Let's take a step back and first look at the Industrial Revolution. So, as you can see in the timeline below, during the 1800s was the first Industrial Revolution, the 1900s was the second Industrial Revolution, 2000s was the third Industrial Revolution, and today we're in the fourth Industrial Revolution with IoT and cloud technology. Now, let's look at the evolution of the Internet. So as you can see in the timeline below, in 1965 was the first one wide area network established. 1969 was the first ever internet message to be sent. And if you go straight to 1991, the World Wide Web goes mainstream. And today, almost around more than 4 billion internet users around the globe. So what is IoT? Now, by definition, IoT is basically a system or a network that connects everyday objects and devices to the internet for the purpose of collecting and exchanging information. How do we define it? In this image, you can see multiple components. You have your devices, which are basically the measuring sensors that you use. For example, maybe a temperature sensor or a proximity sensor. Then you have your connectivity component, which is basically your Wi-Fi, router, GSM or SIM card, etc. Then you have your cloud, and then after that you have your application interface, which is basically your laptop, your tablet, your desktop, your cell phone, all of those. It's much easier to understand if I give you guys an example of an IoT product and solution. So let's say you have a bottle manufacturing factory. In this factory you have different types of machines and equipment to manufacture the bottles. Now you want to sense the amount of bottles that there are. So you're going to use an infrared sensor to detect the number of bottles. Now that information will be stored and processed in the cloud. And that information can also be accessed with the cloud platform. Now the beauty is you can access this platform from almost anywhere, whether it be the office, the factory itself, while you're traveling, or even from your house. So if you want another example, you can go onto YouTube and check out the Google Nest thermostat. So now that you have an idea about what an IoT product or solution looks like, how does it actually work? An IoT solution has two key elements. You have the hardware and you have the software part. Let's start with the hardware. So the hardware part consists of sensors and devices. There are many, but we're just going to name a few. These include, but are not limited to, tablets, smartphones and laptops, which are your devices. Then you have your temperature sensors, proximity sensors, pressure sensors, and there's many more sensors that could be added. These are your sensory devices. Talk about the software. The platforms are of many kinds. Some of the known ones are by AWS or Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, or IBM Watson's. This platform is basically where data is visualized and analyzed. All the information that has been detected by the sensors are stored and processed onto the cloud and then onto the platform. Now the cloud platform has like sub-elements to it. This includes connectivity, data processing, and interface. Now, the data that is collected from the sensors are sent over a network onto the cloud platform or infrastructure. This is where the data is further processed and visualized. The infrastructure has interactive capabilities. If an action needs to take place, then controls are available to make it happen. The data that is sent from sensors and sent to the platform can further be processed. whereby it can provide a predictive graph-like analysis so that the user may make decisions based on the information. But there is a good thing. Now, after understanding all this, it might be still complicated for the user. So the IoT interface can be highly visual with a lot of easy to understand graphic images and icons. This makes it easy for users to interpret the platform as well as customize it. Here's an example of the IoT interface. I used Ask Sensors, which is an IoT platform, to help me with my project that I did for university. Over here you can see that I have like two modules and two readings. One is for temperature and one is for speed. When my circuit was connected, all the information I could have accessed by using this interface. To describe IoT, we need to define its characteristics. So let's start. It is very important because we need to know how the devices will be connected and to make sure that the connectivity is strong. Hence, we need a good connectivity. Unit, physical objects, sensors, devices, etc. The physical world. The list is long. These are all terms to describe an important part of a network of things. Data information is part of the intelligent notion of IoT. Therefore, one should define IoT by what information do we want and how should it be presented. Communication. Data information as such may not go without value. To explain this, we use the DIKW model, which is from data to information to knowledge to wisdom to action. Intelligence and action. The real intelligence and action sits behind the IoT infrastructure data analysis and the smart usage, either to solve a problem, create a competitive benefit, or automate a process. There has to be a purpose. There's always a degree of automation involved, regardless of the scope of the IoT project. But with the subsequent costs and benefits, most of the applications are about automation. But last but not least is the ecosystem that needs to be considered because community importance and cohesion is missing. Many become focused on technology in their responses and not sure about the purpose of the intelligent results that IoT can lead to. They think that personal apps are a form of IoT, but it's a lot more than that. Internet of Things have many advantages, and it can be described by the term any. It can be used anytime for any context, it can be used to access by any device, it can be useful to anyone, it can be used in any services or business, it can also take any path or network, and the most brilliant thing about it, it can be accessed anywhere. We have looked at many advantages of IoT, so let's have a look at the disadvantages. There are three major disadvantages. There is security, technology over-reliance, and unemployment. Security. IoT devices are made to share data over the internet. This is a volatile environment for the information as it is prone to hacking. A data breach of any level can disturb the personal life of an individual or even an industry. To prevent the leakage of data, IoT devices must do information sharing with a high level of encryption. Technology over-reliance. Relying on technology on a day-to-day basis could lead to devastation by making decisions through the information it gives up. There is no robust, fault-free system. So we see failures that are constantly occurring in technology involving the internet in particular. The more we entrust and focus on the internet, if we lose it, there will be more likelihood of a potentially negative scenario. Unemployment. More and more devices interconnected amongst themselves and to the internet will lead to the lower need for manpower and eventually loss of jobs. Jobs like customer support are already automated, and most of the work is performed by chatbots. Automation will have a devastating impact on low and medium-skilled workers. IoT is an innovative and developing industry. If you want to implement it in your business, you have to look at its trends to have a really good understanding of its potential. So this is a research that I've taken from the Finance Online website, and it displays the trends within the IoT domain. On the first part, you can see that the number of installed devices around the world have increased. In 2015, there were about 15.4 billion devices, and the expected 2025 value is 75.4 billion. Part 2 is the major challenges IoT technology is facing. Now, 85% of it believe developers are rushing IoT products that are not properly secured, and the least critical is that rural areas that lack reliable connection or any connectivity. Part 3 is the perceived, expected, and real benefits of IoT. 90% of senior executives in media companies believe IoT is critical to their growth. 80% retailers will use IoT to customize store visits by 2021. 66% US cities that are investing in smart city to IoT technology. 25% projected savings by healthcare industry from use of IoT devices. So why IoT? To understand that, let's look at this graph. Now, on the vertical line, we can see the level of embeddedness. On the horizontal line, we can see the level of mobility. This represents the different types of computing that we currently have. Pervasive computing has a high embeddedness but low mobility. Ubiquitous computing has high embeddedness and high mobility. Mobile computing has high mobility but low embeddedness, and traditional computing has low mobility and low embeddedness. So, what are these computings? To understand this, let's have a look. Pervasive computing is a computing with day-to-day objects that gather information and process to minimize human effort, such as an electronics toll system. Ubiquitous computing, computing where technology becomes part of the environment, using basically any device and at any location. Mobile computing, what we usually have, smartphones. Traditional computing, stacking multiple computers, then providing it with cooling, electricity, as well as space. Now that IoT has been briefly explained to you, it's very important that you know some of its application. Some of its major application is in home automation, the energy industry, environmental and agricultural sector. It can be very useful in the logistics business. It can also be applied in smart city solutions. It proved to be very valuable in industrial automation and factories, and it can be implemented in the healthcare system. IoT connects these industries and also creates a platform for innovation and efficiency. It helps reduce a lot of tedious manual work and provides a system where businesses and industries can perform at maximum potential. Now, IoT is a driving force in the next industrial revolution, so why not apply for IoT solutions now? The IoT industry is growing and it's going to get even bigger. Many industries are already implementing its products and solutions. It's about time companies start maximizing its potential. We at AUK Marine and Mining and 3C IoT provides a diagnostic evaluation for your company, as well as the solutions that best fits your needs. Our contact information is given below. You can also visit our website on auk-maritime.com.